a presentation of Team Glory Sports.
College basketball getting ready for March Madness. Also, we'll talk about NFL and college football and also fishing this morning on Lake Lanier with Hooked on Lanier. All that coming up next here on 97.5 Glory FM. And excuse my voice this morning, it just has gone this morning, a late night last night. As Joe Gailey and I got back in here to the studio about midnight last night and got just a few hours of sleep before we started Hooked on Lanier this morning. And all of a sudden the voice is gone, so bear with me here. Boy, it was an exciting day yesterday. We brought you up first here on 97.5 Glory FM as one radio station in Gainesville brings you two basketball games from two locations across the state of Georgia with the same broadcast team. Joe Gailey and I drove down to Fort Valley yesterday to bring you the live play-by-play coverage of the game between Cherokee Bluff and Jenkins, with the Lady Bears making history once again. They won their game on a buzzer beater by Bristol Curse as they defeat Jenkins 56-55 to advance to the state championship this Wednesday at 5 p.m. as they'll take on the Bravettes of Baldwin High, a team that defeated White County last week. They'll play Wednesday at 5 p.m. Our broadcast will start with the pregame show just after 4:30 here on 97.5 Glory FM. Then after the game with Fort Valley yesterday, Joe and I got in the car and drove over to Columbus State to bring you the live play-by-play coverage exclusively here of the GIAA State Basketball Championship, and it was a dominating win for Lakeview Academy as Ken Huffman's ladies win their second straight state championship, and they win their game over the girls from John Millich Academy 70-29 last night as they dominated the game all last night, and they win the championship. We'll talk to Coach Cassie Scott here in a few moments here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show about their win last night, making history. We heard from Coach Ken Huppen after our game last night down at Columbus State. Congratulations to the Lady Lions as they capture their second straight championship. Give you an idea about the history of this. It's hard enough to win one championship. Back in 1979 to 1980, in my first years in broadcasting, Coach Seth Vining of East Hall won back-to-back championships with the East Hall Lady Vikings. And then in the early 2000s, just after 2001, in fact, it was Manson Hills Lady Red Elephants of Gainesville winning 3 state championships and winning those back-to-back titles there for the Lady Red Elephants of Gainesville. Now Ken Huppen can say they've won back-to-back championships there at Lakeview Academy. And looking forward to talking with Coach Cassie Scott in a few moments here. We'll also talk with Dave Cohen about Georgia State. They get ready for the Sun Belt Conference basketball tournament. March Madness is here, starting next week with the Sun Belt Conference tournament. The SEC and ACC seasons, they come to a conclusion this week. Then they'll get ready for their March Madness games just after that, and they'll culminate with the national championship coming up in the first week of April. We start our coverage of high school baseball next week. We'll wrap up high school basketball on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, we get ready for high school baseball as Joe and I will be with you from Cottrell Field at North Hall as the Trojans go up against the Spartans of Greater Atlanta Christian. Region play begins this week. The next 7 weeks we'll be bringing you baseball action, 2 games each week right here on 97.5 Glory FM. Next Thursday is GAC and Northall. Then a non-region game for you because Cherokee Bluff has less schools in their region, so they don't play as many games in the region. They got a big non-region game here locally. They'll take on the East Forsyth Broncos next Friday from the home of the Bears right here on 97.5 Glory FM. And then we continue through the middle of April with the regular season, which culminates for us on Friday the 18th, in fact, Thursday the 17th of April. Then we get ready for the state tournament after that, state playoffs. So a lot more action for you here on local sports coverage on 97.5 Glory FM. Coming up next, we'll talk with Coach Cassie Scott, the head girls basketball coach at Cherokee Bluff, as they continue to make history right here on 97.5 Glory FM. More coming up on the Saturday Morning Sports Show here on 97.5 Glory FM. And make sure you go to our YouTube channel right now at Team Glory Sports. Subscribe to our channel, please. Like it and get a chance to see me work behind the scenes here on your family radio station. Your home for North Georgia sports, 97.5 Glory FM.
Injuries are never planned and often happen after hours or over the weekend. That's why NGPG Orthopedic and Sports Medicine offers the Black and Blue Walk-In Clinic for injured athletes every Monday morning in their offices in Gainesville, Brazelton, Buford, Bushton, and Jefferson. No need to call. Just walk right in between 8:30 and 11:30 on Monday mornings. And one of their sports medicine and orthopedic doctors will be there to help identify, treat, and care for your injury. To learn more, you may visit ngpg.org/blackandblue.
The experts are saying that it's going to be another tough year for the flu. Last year it started in October and lasted until May. It's never too early to get your flu shot, and you can stop by Riverside Pharmacy and get yours today. The pharmacists at Riverside Pharmacy can not only give you your flu shot, but if you get the flu, they can fill your prescription. They'll even deliver them in the Gainesville area. You can depend on Riverside Pharmacy across the street from City Park, serving Gainesville for over 60 years.
97.5 Glory FM.
Your home team for North Georgia Sports. Mike Wofford with you here on this Saturday morning. My voice may be a little bit better now, but let's go to the phone. She's going to help me out a bunch. Cassie Scott joining us here this morning. Hey, Cassie, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
So how are you now the day after?
Well, it was a long bus ride home, so I got to let it seep in a little more, but I woke up, had my coffee, and back to watching film to prepare for Wednesday.
All right, so last night, but yesterday afternoon, I keep saying last night, yesterday afternoon was a full day for us. There, a big win over the girls there from Jenkins High. Let me tell you, this is how it sounded. You had not had a chance to hear this yet, Cassie. Here was Joe Gailey's call yesterday in the final moments of the game with the Lady Bears winning the ball game yesterday.
Carlson to Kirsch. Kirsch lost it. She gets it back. She floats it up there. Going. Get in it at the buzzer. 56, 55. Bristol Kirsch at the buzzer. And the fans storm the court. Holy cow. They win it. And they'll go to the state championship. Holy moly.
And that's how it
I
sounded.
love that.
I love that's how it sounded. So we're going to try to do it again on Wednesday. The big thing we talked about before, we didn't want to make it go that deep. It took 0.2 of 1 second remaining in the game, so almost 32 minutes to win a ball game yesterday. So now you've had a chance to hear that, and really, after you and I talked yesterday, just the emotion of going to the state championship is one thing. So tell me how your girls are and how they were after the ball game yesterday.
I mean, it was all smiles. It was, cheering. They were proud of each other for overcoming that type of adversity. We just didn't play our best game, but we found a way to win, and we hit big shots when we needed them. And, of course, the biggest shot came from Bristol in that last 3.8 seconds. So they were just excited for each other. They celebrate each other, and we went and had a good lunch and departed ways and told them we're getting right back to work on Monday.
All right, so you didn't watch the other game with Bowling then? In person, you didn't stay and watch that?
I watched it on NFHS Network.
Okay, gotcha. That's a good way you can do it from that standpoint on the way home. All right, so you got a team that I understand won the Class Quad A championship last year. I know they beat our friends up at White County. Now you get a chance to talk to Coach Shedd and get some pointers about that team. But I know they almost beat Baldwin then, so I think you got a great chance of winning a championship, huh?
It could be a great chance. They're big. They've been in this position before. I think this is like their third time in a row getting to a state championship. But I think our biggest message to my girls is that we can't be intimidated by their size. We still have to play our game and attack the lane, make passes open, make our shots that will be open because they play a zone defense. So we just got to be able to have a better shooting day than what we had yesterday. But if we do that and we do everything that we're supposed to, I've been saying it from day one, and sticking to our disciplined defense and not move out of that game, we'll be all right. Yesterday we got out of groove a little bit and a lot more moments than I would have liked, but we found a way to finish, and we can't have too many of those mistakes on Wednesday because Baldwin is ultimately a good team.
Talking to Coach Cassie Scott, the head girls basketball coach at Cherokee Bluff, who's heading to the state championship on Wednesday here on 97.5 Glory FM against the Braveheads of Baldwin out of Milledgeville. So tell me about the difference in playing there at home at Cherokee Bluff and playing at a college setting like at Columbus State, and then coming up this Wednesday there at the Macon Coliseum.
Yeah, I mean, I said it yesterday, we got spoiled. Our last 7 games have been at home. So you kind of get in that routine of not having to go on the road or adapt to gyms. And it was good for us to have a game like yesterday in that type of arena because we're going to see it again on Wednesday. So now that we know what to expect, we're Coach Gene Durden at Wofford is kind enough to let us use his gym on Monday for practice just to kind of get used to that perception of stands behind the rim. So we're gonna prepare the best way possible and adapt now that we've got one in. We punched a hole in our belt and got that done yesterday. Being away from our gym, we'll be away from our gym again on Monday. It'll just prepare us the best way we need to for Wednesday.
Well, you go for Coach Durden. That's great that Gene will do that for you from that standpoint. So, really, isn't the biggest thing just the background getting used to the depth perception and be able to hit a three?
It is. It's a big deal for shooters. I've been in that position myself when I played, and it throws you off a bit. And it doesn't take long to adapt, but I think going in there comfortably with that type of perception will help us get a faster start than waiting till second, third, fourth quarter to do that. So the sooner the better for us.
Well, you were talking about the size disadvantage, and you've been outside here for a while, it seems like, but it doesn't seem that it affects your girls, and especially the way they've been hitting the boards. I'd love to know what the stat was yesterday about the number of offensive rebounds your team got, because y'all were getting great position over the girls there from Jenkins and getting second and third chances.
Right. That was probably one of our best offensive rebounding games. My message to them is you got to play like this is your last game because it very well could be. So you got to go out and give everything you have, and that's going to be the same message Wednesday because it is the last game no matter what the outcome is. So we're just going to keep our heads down, keep working. Baldwin is we just have to stick to our game plan and get them in foul trouble by being aggressive, moving the ball, making them move their feet defensively, and knock down shots when we get them. So if we can do all that and play our defense and still press and do all the things we know how, we could really have a good shot at this thing.
Oh, no doubt about it. I think you got a great shot at it, again, knowing what Coach Shedd did at White County against that team, and really came out the last 3-4 minutes of the ball game for Baldwin to pull away from White County when they won that game, or who knows how the brackets could have been from that standpoint. So we know they're beatable, just like we were looking at Jenkins yesterday, and even before that with Monroe and with Doherty. So, okay, how these girls lose ball games with the record that they had. It's okay, well, they're like anybody else on any given day. They can be beaten. I love the game plan that you had yesterday against Jenkins.
Yeah, we with Jenkins, we knew they were going to press. We expected that, so we obviously worked on that. But it was what hurt us early was just not knocking down the shots that we typically knock down. And free throws right now, I might have to spend a 4-hour practice just on free throws alone. I told you this last time. I spend an unhealthy amount of free throw time in practice, and we're still not shooting well from the line. So,
I tell you, so from the fan standpoint, though, Cassie, I mean, is there differences maybe in the way the rims are at some of these places, these freestanding goals that you have like at Columbus State yesterday, and see the same thing at Macon Wednesday? Is that maybe they just are different than what you got at home?
It is different. It is different, and any coach and basketball player can tell you rims can have an effect on how the ball bounces off and bounces in, and so it's a different style for us, but they still got to knock down free throws. It's a free shot.
Yeah, you just try to avoid it. Just go swish for that standpoint, right? Just go net and nothing else.
Absolutely.
All right. So the idea. So you got with Buford. You going on Monday from there. Are you going to go down on Tuesday or go down on Wednesday to Macon?
I think we're going to end up leaving Wednesday morning to Macon. Now that we have a little bit of a later game time, it'll allow us to do what we need to do and get prepared and still get a day of practice in the day before. I know I'm in conversation with a coach from one of the local high schools that's about 20 minutes. He's going to see if he can get us into the gym as well before we actually get to the Macon Coliseum, because they're strict about the time that we can step on the court. So it just we're going to try to adapt, and just all these coaches coming together to help each other is amazing. Coach Durden being willing to open his gym floor for us, that just speaks volumes within itself, and how coaches support one another, because I would do that in a heartbeat for anybody else as well. So I told him this morning, thank you for that, because he doesn't have to.
Oh, absolutely. He's a
so
great guy.
He's very much appreciated on that end.
Hey, let me tell you one thing before you go here, is that when we left you yesterday, we went over to Columbus and broadcast the Lakeview Academy Girls State Championship game. And I tell you what, the GIAA does things differently than the GHSA. They can learn a few things about how to conduct a tournament. Because I know it was tough for y'all. When y'all walked in yesterday, it was unorganized, to say the least.
Oh, it was very unorganized. We got there at 11:35 and didn't get into our locker room until 12:15.
Oh my goodness! It wouldn't let you in either.
They kept sending us to different doors to enter, but nobody was opening the doors to tell us exactly where to go. And it was, our facilities were in the locker room were just not up to standard of where you would want to stick a team. And but I told our girls, we faced adversity just walking into the gym, but we still have a game to play. And so it was very unorganized. And I mean, for them hosting for multiple years, they need to get a better system, and especially with the level that these teams are coming in to play for at a Final Four.
Oh yeah, and you made some great adjustments to get things started, because that could get you off your game right there.
It did. My one thing I didn't want to do is rush getting there and feeling rushed to play a 1 o'clock game, and that's exactly what ended up happening. And it wasn't because of our part. We did our part correctly. It was just not even having our locker room available, and when they did, they had the wrong sign on it. When it was locked, and we had to wait, and it was just. So I was like, all right, well, this is how our day is starting, so we still got to get changed and get back. And then when we got on the floor, they had the time wrong.
Yes, they did.
So they put the time on the clock for 30 minutes when we could step on, and one of the GHSA reps was like, you guys can't be on the floor. We're going by the watch, and it's 12:27. And we're like, well, the scoreboard says 30 minutes, and it's already been a running clock. So, I mean, it was just little things led to other little things. But we adapted, and we still had a game to play at 1 o'clock. And with probably the best shot in the season, we won it.
Oh, no doubt about it. And what I love is that the way you came back. We got to go back. Claire Carlson hit a humongous three-pointer there.
Yes.
And then you take the lead, and then timeout for them, and they go down court in the blink of an eye. They're so quick, and they hit a layup in about 10 seconds ago, and we're down by one. And then it's okay. We come down, and I love the way we were going, okay, when you go to call timeout, you got to call the timeout, set things up there with 3.8, and there it was a great way to get things going, and Bristol made the shot of her life.
Yeah, I wanted to be sure we were across half court with the time that we had, and I knew they were going to close in on Claire if she wasn't the one inbounding, so I put her there purposely, and I told both of them in the timeout, the ball has to be in either one of your hands, and we got to get a shot off. So the original plan was for Bristol to get it and get it back to Claire coming inbounds for a pitch and catch type of shot, but she fumbled it. When she fumbled it and regathered herself, I was like, you know what? That was part of the game plan. That's what I told her to do. People don't know that part. No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, I have one of my really good friends that tells me all the time, players make plays, and in that moment, Bristol made that play, and that's just a dream come true type of play for any athlete in a moment like that. So I was excited for her in general, and so excited that I strained my calf muscle. So
yeah, I was doing a little Ron Hunter thing. And Joe said she hurt herself. I'm going, you remember Ron Hunter there of Georgia State?
Rod Hunter, yep. Everybody was like, "You're pulling the Rod Hunter there." And my brother-in-law told me the Coach B story when they won it in Houston, and he's kind of running around looking for somebody to hug.
Yes.
And then it did feel like that in the moment. But my first look is when I went to celebrate. I was like trying to where my daughter's at, because you know my girls have been here with me obviously, but they see me in a lot of my highs and my lows during season, and you know that's who I do it for, and they love me no matter what. They could care less about the wins or losses. So that in that moment is who I was looking for, and I found him, and that was probably the best hugs I got for that moment.
Joe was telling me he had pictures that we had posted from the game yesterday, and he was telling me, he said, Cassie out there with her two girls. I said, tell everybody how old they are.
My oldest is 8 years old, and my youngest is 3 years old. So it's a pretty hefty age gap, and they both keep me busy. My youngest especially, she's a lot like me. I try to deny that fact, but the older she gets, the more I realize. So, but they are little warriors. They have to. There's a lot of nights they spend long nights with me at gyms and come home. And my youngest is in the habit of, you know, Mom, when are we watching film? So. It's a blessing to have them, and they, like I said, are ultimately who I do it for. And then my own team, my other set of 14 daughters, is very open to my girls, and they love them like their own. And I can't ask for anything better than that as a coach.
All right, congratulations. We'll see you on Wednesday, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mike.
All right, thanks much. Take care. We got much more for you coming here on 97.5 Glory FM again, and we go on the air just after 4:30 on Wednesday. Tip-off will be at 5 p.m. for the Macon Centraplex at the Macon Coliseum, as it will be the Bravettes of Baldwin taking on the Cherokee Bluff Lady Bears here on 97.5 Glory FM. Thanks to Cassie Scott. We got much more for you coming up next here on 97.5 Glory FM, or our live video stream on YouTube at Team Glory Sports. And by the way, you can listen to our game from yesterday, relive the broadcast with Cherokee Bluff anytime, online, on demand. Go to our website, WGTJradio.com.
Here I am on the road again, ready to pick up the kids from school, go by the grocery store, and do all the things a busy mother does. It's because I just left North Hall Tire and Wheel, where they made sure I was ready to go. They put on a fresh set of tires, checked the brakes, and even the battery. I know I can trust Mike and Matt and the guys at North Hall Tire and Wheel. They have everything you need, all the name brand tires at the best prices, and the service you need. They're on Cleveland Highway in Gainesville, so give them a call at 770-297-5308.
This is Representative Lee Hawkins, your representative to the state legislature. I want to wish all the local athletes in our area the very best this season. Your team is very important to the success of our community, and I look forward to seeing you play this year and to see what you accomplish in the classrooms and in the community. I also look forward to serving you and your family in the state legislature. This message paid for by the committee to re-elect Lee Hawkins.
97.5 Glory FM.
And back on the Saturday Morning Sports Show, 97.5 Glory FM. We go back to the phones now. Talk to our next guest, who's Brandon Sabeth, the Director of Athletic Communications for the University of North Georgia. Hey there, Brandon.
Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good. My voice is back on after doing basketball yesterday. But no, you had a game back on Wednesday. I heard a little bit of it there from Aiken, and the women from North Georgia are champions once again.
Yeah, absolutely. They had a chance to win the Peach Belt outright on the road Wednesday after clinching a share of it at least on Saturday, and they did that in their game against the Pacers. I mean, they were just dominant, wire-to-wire win again for them. I think that's double-digit wire-to-wire wins this year for them. They also go 11-0 on the road this season, which is really cool. They've never gone undefeated in program history on the road in a year. So that was a really fun day for us to get to go to that game on the road. That was our first road broadcast as well, something new that we're starting to implement. So to take the bus with them and kind of celebrate them that day was pretty cool, and we're just really glad to see them win the outright championship, and now we get to host the conference tournament next week.
All right, so the regular season comes to a close today, right?
Absolutely. Clayton State today at 1:30 and 3:30. We've got senior day, 5 women's basketball seniors, 2 on the men's side, so we'll have 7 in total today. Should be a good day.
Oh, no doubt about that. So next weekend, playing at home there at Lincoln Trail Arena there at UNG Convocation Center, right?
Yeah, so Wednesday they'll play in the quarterfinals against there's 4 teams that could tie technically for last place right now. It's Flagler, Lander, GSW, and Clayton State. So that'll get sorted after today. But so they'll play one of those 4 teams on Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and then if they win, we'll host the semifinals and the championship round over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. So if they if they make it to Saturday, they'll play at 1 o'clock, and then Sunday's game is also at 1 o'clock in the championship.
All right. Then also right now, you're in great shape of going to the national tournament because of the rankings there in the Southeast, right?
Well, yeah, the important result away from Aiken on Wednesday was that while we were there at USC Aiken and they took the big win, Coker, who was the next closest team in the regional rankings, actually lost to Wingate for their 3rd loss of the season. Coker, I think, was 22-2 at that point. So that drops them back a little bit. And as long as UNG handles business today and in the conference tournament, I think they've got a really, really, really good shot to host the regional championship. So that would be a big deal.
Oh, yes.
That's something that Buffy Burson and her program, has prided themselves on in her career, and to get to do that for another chance on a year like this where they've done some really historic accomplishments would be really fun.
Oh, no doubt about that. So has Avery Jones got a chance to surpass Julianne Sutton today for the freshman all-time scoring record?
Today it'll be tough. She'll have to at least tie a career high to tie Sutton. So, because she's 28 points away.
Gotcha.
But I think Avery is going to get the benefit of some more postseason games than Julianne had.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll have an opportunity to definitely go past her. But that was a great stat that Jim Stewart, our public address announcer for basketball, found last week. And it's just cool to see. And, I was talking on the bus with Julianne and the other assistant coaches, Amber Schedule and Cooper Turner, about that. And it's just cool to see, the career that Julianne had. I mean, she played 5 years, went to an NCAA tournament every single year, and in her last year went to a Final Four, was a National Player of the Year, and is the leading scorer in program history in the D2 era.
Mm-hmm.
And Avery is obviously this star freshman that we have, and right now she's on pace to catch her in scoring her freshman year. So it goes to show how good Julianne was and also how good Avery is and maybe can be. I mean, we don't want to put any pressure or predictions on her, but, you can kind of see the writing on the wall right now. And her being a hometown kid from Lumpkin and everything, it's really cool. And Avery's a great kid. She's a hard worker. She's very smart. So to see the year that she's had, I hope she wins BBC Freshman of the Year. She's got a great chance right now. And to see where her career goes after this. I'm excited.
Well, it's great to see that Coach Burson goes after local players. She was inducted into the Truett McConnell University Hall of Fame last Friday. Our Joe Gay was there to see her inducted. Was sitting at the same table with Buffy and got a chance to talk with her, and it's really big that she can go after local talent. It shows you the kind of talent we have here in North Georgia.
Absolutely. There's so much good talent around this area that we've gotten to see. It was actually really cool yesterday. We had the GHSA state semifinals
I heard about
for
that. How
a
about
couple
that?
different boys and girls teams at Lynn Cottrell Arena. So we got to watch some of those teams. I remember I didn't get to see all of those games because I was working, but for example, Hebron Christian was in one of those games on the girls' side.
Sure were.
Carly Fahey, who's currently a senior and will celebrate later today, also went to Hebron Christian and won some state championships there. So there's some cool connections everywhere and some really cool talent in this area. And at the D2 level, that's really fun and really awesome to see.
Yes.
And so Avery Jones is just the latest iteration of that.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm very glad to know that you were able to host the girls there from the private school ranks at GHSA yesterday. It's really good to see get some recruiting going on from that standpoint. So where are the men going to finish in the conference tournament?
So they still have it. They're seventh right now because they lost to Aiken on Wednesday.
Right.
They still have a chance to get to sixth. They could technically tie for fifth, but I did the math on the tiebreakers, and they would finish in sixth. So with a win today and some help from the other teams, they'll finish sixth. They can't fall out of it. They've already clinched a spot in the conference tournament, so that they won't finish worse than seventh. How the top finishes will depend on today. It looks like it's going to be Columbus State that wins the number one seed, but Augusta still has a chance. Columbus State is 14-2 in conference play, and both their losses are to Augusta. So if Augusta catches them today, they have the head-to-head. They'll win the conference. Columbus actually doesn't play until tomorrow against Georgia College, so we'll have to wait an extra day to figure all of that
out.
out.
That's because I guess them hosting the GIAA tournament this weekend.
Right.
And I was there yesterday.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how that all shakes out because that does affect who UNG is going to play, but it looks like it'll be either Columbus, Augusta, or USC Aiken. Three teams that I think they can definitely beat. So as far as the NCAA tournament, it looks like they'll probably have to win the Peach Belt to make it there. The last two losses to Augusta and Aiken would have been resume builders had they won them. They're not necessarily disqualifying losses, but they're just up to 13 losses now. And in the SAC, some other bubble teams have picked up some big wins. UVA Wise beat Lincoln Memorial the other day. Coker picked up a couple wins as well. So it looks like they'll face either Augusta or Columbus State and then have to go win the Peach Belt Conference Tournament, which they did last year. So
they play Wednesday, right?
Yes.
So it's also Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday?
Yeah, the men are the same way, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday.
Got you. Okay. So either in Columbus or in Augusta coming up this week. Final thing for you about baseball real quick.
Yeah.
What we'll get today?
So Columbus State on the road. Yesterday was the first of a three-game series. The second one is today at 2 o'clock. Yesterday was a tough one. Nighthawks were up 5-1 at one point, I think in the sixth inning, or 4-1 it was, excuse me. They lose the lead, go down 5-4, tie it in the eighth. It goes into extras. They take a 6-5 lead on a Jorge Arisbaro solo home run to center field, the only home run of the game for either side. Columbus State tied it in the bottom of the 10th. In the top of the 12th, Reed took the lead once more at 7-6. And then with 2 outs and an 0-2 count and the bases loaded in the bottom of the 12th, a very, very weak fly ball to right field dropped into no man's land and brought in 2 runs for Columbus State to walk it off. Another close loss. UNG's 9-6 now on the year. 5 of their 6 losses have been within 2 runs or less, and 3 of those have been by 1 run. So a couple pitches, a couple cracks of the bat away from, perhaps being 12-3 or something on the year. But they got a chance to take game 2 today and win the series tomorrow.
All right, so tell everybody they can follow you today with the ball game this afternoon.
So they can watch it on the Nighthawk Sports Network at pbcsportsnetwork.com/North Georgia. We also live stream it on YouTube on our Nighthawk Sports Network channel, and everybody can follow UNG Athletics at UNG_Nighthawks on all of our social media.
All right, buddy. Thanks much. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time, okay?
Will do. Thanks, Mike.
So go Hawk 'em. We got much more for you coming up next here on 97.5 Glory FM. We'll talk fishing right quick with Brandon Whitesides and more on 97.5 Glory FM.
Hello.
Hey, Mary.
Hope Bunch, the voice of Long Street Cafe. What's up?
I'm calling everyone and reminding them about our home-cooked meals, great variety, and friendly atmosphere.
Wow, Hope, that's a good idea.
I was hoping you would think so. I want you to call everyone whose last name begins with a C all the way through Z.
No, wait.
Thanks, Mary.
Longstreet Cafe, with 2 Gainesville locations. Online at longstreetcafe.com.
We put the home in cooking, and Mary, you put the friend in friendship.
Okay, I'm calling them.
Your home is part of you, and keeping it comfortable and well-maintained is essential. Conditioned Air Systems is North Georgia's solution for residential heating, air, and plumbing services. For more than 40 years, our family has been committed to delivering the highest quality service by our certified technicians and plumbers. Experience the difference today when you choose Conditioned Air Systems for your home's heating, air, and plumbing needs. Quality you can feel, service you can trust. Visit conditionedairsystems.com to schedule an appointment.
Injuries are never planned and often happen after hours or over the weekend. That's why NGPG Orthopedic and Sports Medicine offers the Black and Blue Walk-In Clinic for injured athletes every Monday morning in their offices in Gainesville, Brazelton, Buford, Houston, and Jefferson. No need to call. Just walk right in between 8:30 and 11:30 on Monday mornings. And one of their sports medicine and orthopedic doctors will be there to help identify, treat, and care for your injury. To learn more, you may visit ngpg.org/black-and-blue.
The experts are saying that it's going to be another tough year for the flu. Last year it started in October and lasted until May. It's never too early to get your flu shot, and you can stop by Riverside Pharmacy and get yours today. The pharmacists at Riverside Pharmacy can not only give you your flu shot, but if you get the flu, they can fill your prescription. They'll even deliver them in the Gainesville area. You can depend on Riverside Pharmacy across the street from City Park, serving Gainesville for over 60 years.
And we're back on the Saturday Morning Sports Show here on 97.5 Glory FM. I was going to talk to our partner Brandon Whitesides, hooked on Lanier Coast, but I remember he's on his way to Greenville, South Carolina, and so I'm going to back up here, and on the fly, I'm going to try to get Harper LaBelle to talk a little college sports action. He's also the co-host of Hooked on Lanier. He joined us this morning at 6:05 on 97.5 Glory FM, and we'll try to get Harper on the line here to talk about sports here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show here on 97.5 Glory FM, your home team for North Georgia sports. Our next broadcast of high school sports comes up on Wednesday with the state championship of Cherokee Bluff and Baldwin. Now I got Harper LaBelle on the phone joining us here this morning, and we're going to talk a little college sports and also a little NFL sports action this morning. Hey there, Harper.
Well, good morning, Mike. Yeah, you said you wanted to talk about the cap, but we could talk about anything, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. First off, great show again this morning with Hooked on Lanier. Everybody can listen to your show. We got the technical issues straightened out, and we'll have the video for you coming up next Saturday at 6:05. And I've got to see you out on the lake sometime, you know what?
Yeah, well, it's hard enough for anybody to even see me on a podcast. Brandon's different, but you get an ugly guy on, you'd rather not have that. So, you know,
right, let's talk football
if
then.
You
okay?
love fishing that much, though, you can get through it. That's a plus.
All right, how about football? First off, on the college level, you and I were talking this morning off air about college football, and NIL money continues to increase. And then there's this idea about a super league, which has basically become a minor league for the NFL, it seems.
Well, I think that college itself is the minor leagues for the National Football League. But how you monitor, manage, and really promote that, I think we're going to see some changes and some different ideas that are going to pop up that will either replace or reduce and quite possibly eliminate the need for the NCAA.
Bingo. I think this idea about the Super League with the Big Ten and the SEC merging together reminds me, I was telling you back then when Vince Dooley, I think it was Barry Switzer, joined him from Oklahoma and started the College Football Association, CFA. They had a TV contract with ABC, and it didn't last that long. But now the way things have changed, and they keep changing so rapidly. The thing I'm looking at and is the smaller group of 5 colleges and universities like Georgia State, for example, and for the high school kids coming out and being recruited, is there going to be that, especially with the transfer portal, the opportunity for you to play, say, at the big school?
Well, it's going to be a very interesting leap. You see a lot of Sun Belt or CAA conferences, the Mountain West, for example, that have some pretty good players. And let's just give an example of a kid that's a 3-star coming out of high school, and they're underdeveloped. You know, they're a 17-year-old in a 15-year-old body, so to speak. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful, but you know, late bloomers happen all the time.
Oh, sure.
And at 19 or 20, this guy's a legitimate star, and he could be a second rounder in the NFL. Well, he wants to prove that by playing at Alabama or Clemson or you pick the school. And moving up. So I'm not sure how it'll affect that aspect of the portal. But the biggest concern that I have is that Akron, Mercer this past year played at Alabama. There'll be some smaller schools. I know Southern played at Georgia a few years ago. Those will disappear.
Sure.
And that is going to be a tremendous budget cut for some of those smaller schools. And you may even see a reduction of the amount of schools that are playing at the Division I level because of that. They'll just go Division II and just have limited scholarships because the money's just not there anymore.
Exactly. That's the biggest thing. We talk about Harper O'Bell, our NFL experts. With that, we talk about the cap for the NFL, and that keeps increasing.
I don't think it's ever gone down, Mike. I remember my first year when the cap was initiated back in the 92-93 time frame. It was in the low 40s, and now how many multiplications has it had? That it's a $279.2 million this year.
Wow. So is it a quote-unquote hard cap, or how really hard is it?
Well, that number is set in stone. The flexibility will be for some clubs that haven't spent all of their money from last year. I'll give Carolina as an example. They spent all of their money. So their cap for this year is $279. New Orleans didn't spend all their money last year. They're at $282. So they have an extra $4 or $5 million from what the cap allows.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, it's $3 million. But the funny thing I just looked at their number a little while ago. Their salaries for this coming year, they're already $47 million over the cap.
Whoa.
They're going to have to cut some guys, and technically speaking, probably 4. To just get to even.
Wow.
So it's going to be very interesting how that works. Tampa has $9 million in space. Carolina has 28. I mentioned them a moment ago, and the Falcons are at $5 million over. So they've got to move some contracts around or cut somebody.
So the big question there is about our quarterback from last year. How does that affect the cap?
Well, if they let him go, it's $65 million in dead money. If you keep him, it's $40 million against the cap. So you've got a $25 million decision to make. Or you just keep him on the team, which I don't have a problem with because he'd be an adequate backup unless you can trade for either a pick or whatever, but I don't know anybody that wants to absorb that. By the way, if you look at the highest number, at least in our division, Derek Carr's number is $51 million against the cap this year. So he's $11 million more expensive than what Kirk Cousins is.
Wow. Has anybody learned a lesson yet from what happened with Deshaun Watson about how to manage your money in a team?
It appears not, Mike. I mean, the basic answer is that. And I go back to the early 90s, mid-90s Cowboys, where they had 4 or 5 guys. You had Emmett, Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman, throw Dion in there, Charles Haley. There were 5 or 6 guys making more than 50% of the cap. Everyone else was making maybe 1% each, 2% at the most, bare bones minimum type of contracts. But, each team manages their cap differently. You could say that the best to manage it in the most recent years was the New England Patriots.
Oh,
you know,
sure.
being able to win all those Super Bowls and keep a quarterback at well under what the going rate was at that time.
Yep. All right. So how about the combine right now?
Today, quarterback, receivers, and running backs. Yesterday was the tight ends and the defensive backs. Tomorrow will be the linemen. The thing that I was impressed on Friday, yesterday was Friday. Thursday, the first day, a lot of defensive ends, edge rushers, were very impressive with their 40 time, their vertical leaps. So you see these guys are taking it very seriously, and there's a lot of depth defensively. So if you don't get the guy that you want, there may be one name. Falcons have been throwing Mike Green out for Marshall. If he's not available, you may want to get another guy and then wait till the second round, because there's 4 or 5, 6 others that are very, very good right now at their position. And you can find some value by moving back to the second, maybe even the third round.
Do you find a game changer, you think, when it comes to an edge rusher?
This year, it's hard to say because there's so many, and because of what it seemed like the time to beat from Thursday, was 4.59. There were a lot of guys that were in the upper 4 5s, and that spells a recipe for great success in terms of being able to pick from the litter and take one guy. And even if you don't get him, there's plenty of others that are there. If the Vikings pick before you, or let's just use guys in our conference, Carolina or the Saints, you'll still be able to find somebody that can bring it, if that's going to be your top priority at the pick.
Well, with that, it seems like, if you think of it, you've got a big 350-pound lineman there, and you got these edge rushers. It seems like you just get by then and put pressure on a quarterback, because we know any quarterback is going to not be as effective if you put pressure on him.
Yeah. Well, do you want to go up the middle with a 330-pounder? And there were plenty of the guys, 2 from Michigan, that are just outstanding, that anyone would benefit from having to clog up the middle. But if you've already got a guy like that, you need somebody on the outside to kind of keep a quarterback from moving up the middle. Yes, there's plenty of guys to do that as well. So, again, a thicker group of guys on the defensive front this year. It's a plethora, if you will, but a surplus at that one particular position, which may make defensive backs or wide receivers at a premium because there aren't as many. We'll see, but the guys are running literally as we speak, and then by this time tomorrow night, it'll be over and the assessments begin, and everybody's going to go from there.
All right, so the clock is ticking into the draft, right?
Yeah, between now and the end of April, there'll be a lot of conversations. Each team will also get the ability to go watch Shedeur Sanders, for example. He's not going to throw at the combine, but he'll have a pro day.
Mm-hmm.
So Georgia's always had a really good, successful pro days. A lot of folks go to there. Bama will have a day. Colorado will have one. So between now and then, there'll be plenty of times for scouts to get another peek at some of the top prospects.
Well, we look at the combine and the importance of it, or I guess, quote unquote, the importance of it. I always go back to Tony Dungy. There's other things, other intangibles, like your character and how you are in the locker room and how you're coachable, that kind of thing, that can play an important part about where you end up being in the draft, right?
Yeah, there are times during the college recruiting where they'll visit with your first grade teacher. They'll ask the janitor at your high school, hey, what's this guy like? And the janitor will say, this guy is he's friendly. He's not a bully type guy. I've seen him pick up trash to help me out. He's an A1 top personality. And they're guys that aren't. So, the background characteristics, because especially with the amount of money in a draft between picks 1 and 4 now, you don't want to waste it. And you certainly have seen, it's rare, but you see on occasions guys that blow it and something happens.
Well, to me, Harper, as a fan, I want to see guys get paid, but at the same time, I don't want that to be the number one goal in them playing football. That makes sense?
Yes,
they need to
I do.
play.
But Mike, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying there's another aspect of it. You know what? I don't need choir boys. I want good football players.
Absolutely. Yeah. They got to be choir boys. But are they good enough teammates that you can have on a team?
And again, remember, this is entertainment. Are they going to help fill seats in the building because they help you win on Sundays? Absolutely. Those are obviously the keys. And many teams, including the Falcons, have a lot of holes, and they're trying to get a guy to fill one of those holes completely. Last year, remember, we signed a quarterback and we drafted a quarterback in the first round. That problem should be solved. Now, it was from a roster perspective, but the performance level was obviously a question. Now, we drafted Ruka Rororo, and then we had a defensive edge from Washington. He gets hurt. Oops. Now you need an edge rusher again. So a lot of times you get the guy you want, but if you can't keep him on the field, it puts another hole in the dam, and you got to fill it some way, shape, or form.
All right. Have a great week. We'll see you next Saturday morning for Hooked on Lanier. Then we'll talk to you next week, okay?
Absolutely, Mike. You have a great rest of your day as well.
Be blessed. Appreciate it much. That is Harper Bell. He is the best, especially when it comes to the workings of the NFL when it comes to money. And that's one of the most important things about is you got to have a team, with the money you've got. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens here of the off season. And Harper's a man to talk to, and you can join him next Saturday morning at 6:05 with Hooked on Lanier. Coming up next, we'll preview college basketball with Dave Cohen. Up next here on 97.5 Glory FM with the Saturday Morning Sports Show.
Here I am on the road again, ready to pick up the kids from school, go by the grocery store, and do all the things a busy mother does. It's because I just left North Hall Tire and Wheel, where they made sure I was ready to go. They put on a fresh set of tires, checked the brakes, and even the battery. I know I can trust Mike and Matt and the guys at North Hall Tire and Wheel. They have everything you need, all the name brand tires at the best prices, and the service you need. They're on Cleveland Highway in Gainesville, so give them a call at 770-297-5308.
This is Representative Lee Hawkins, your representative to the state legislature. I want to wish all the local athletes in our area the very best this season. Your team is very important to the success of our community, and I look forward to seeing you play this year and to see what you accomplish in the classrooms and in the community. I also look forward to serving you and your family in the state legislature. This message paid for by the committee to re-elect Lee Hawkins.
And back in the Saturday Morning Sports at one time, I gave Dave Cohen his wake-up call, and he's not available. He had a late night last night as he left Statesboro, Georgia last night. Well, the loss ramping up the regular season for the Georgia State men's basketball team as they go 8-10 during the regular season there with the Sun Belt Conference, as they will find out who they'll play, and Dave's got that for me. They'll find out more about that as they get ready for the Sun Belt Conference tournament in Pensacola, Florida, coming up next week, and they will be bringing the network the play-by-play of that game. We'll see if we can broadcast any of those games. Well, we've got a busy week next week right here on 97.5 Glory FM. Again, on Wednesday, we'll travel down to Macon as we'll bring you the GHSA Class AAA Girls Basketball Championship between Baldwin and Cherokee Bluff playing for a state championship. Then on Thursday, high school baseball with North Hall and Greater Atlanta Christian. On Friday, more high school baseball with Cherokee Bluff taking on East Forsyth. Now today, the Atlanta Braves are back in action with spring training baseball action as they get ready for the first game of the regular season, which will be here before you know. We're about 3.5 weeks away from breaking camp down in Northport, Florida, as they get ready to start the 2025 season. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the Atlanta Falcons and the Atlanta Braves and the Atlanta Hawks. I'll get a chance, hopefully get to talk with Chuck Graham next week about the Atlanta Hawks as they wrap up the regular season here soon. And then also with what's going on with racing. There's racing action tomorrow. We'll see how Chase Elliott fares on that one. You'll hear from John Thayer on Monday morning about the NASCAR race this week and where Chase finishes with that. So we got lots to talk about, including high school basketball, high school baseball. Again, today, the University of North Georgia celebrates Senior Day there at Lincoln Trail Arena at the UNG Convocation Center as they're in action today against Clayton State. Tip-off at 1:30 p.m. with the women and the men to follow there at 3:30 p.m. You can watch the action on the Nighthawk Sports Network on ungathletics.com. Then we've got much more for you next week. Again, we're with you on Wednesday for high school basketball state championship action right here on 97.5 Glory FM, your radio station for North Georgia sports. You can always follow us on our website, WGTJradio.com, and relive the action that we heard, just like this great call from Joe Gaylor from yesterday, wrapping things up this morning on the Saturday Morning Sports Show.
Carlson to Kirsch. Kirsch lost it. She gets it back. She floats it up there. Going. You hit it at the buzzer. 56, 55. Bristol Kirsch at the buzzer, and the fans storm the court. Holy cow! They win it, and they'll go to the state championship. Holy moly!